Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be reviewing Godzilla vs Kong, the latest of Legendary's big boom CGI monster romps, and maybe just the film the box office needs to kickstart the industry. Following on from the events of King of Monsters, a film I would have enjoyed a lot more had it not given me a legitimate migraine, our trusty neighbourhood lizard is king of the Titans and saviour of Earth. He's just vibing in the oceans, doing his thing, and meanwhile Kong is being monitored over on Skull Island after the storm enveloped it and destroyed its ecosystem, I think. The exposition's a little hazy on that, but to be honest, whenever Kong was on screen, the last thing I was doing was listening to a bunch of humans. Naturally, given the title, the film sets up this giant conflict between Godzilla and Kong, both alphas seeking to dominate the other into submission. There's a mural about them being old enemies or something, but it's not really delved into. This conflict essentially allows for some pretty epic fight sequences, some of which are hinted at in the trailer. My non-spoilery assessment of the film is that it's everything you could want from a big boom punchy CGI monster fest. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The humans are secondary in every single way to the large-scale action. I lost a good number of brain cells watching it, but hell if I didn't also have a really fun time. It has a self-awareness that really works in its favour. From the soundtrack to the conspiracy theory antics, there's a knowing wit to some of what it achieves. I've always admired the franchise for having fun with its visuals, and this film is certainly no exception. I put this on the biggest possible screen I could find at home, and I sincerely recommend you do the same. If cinemas are open where you are, you could certainly do a lot worse for an evening's entertainment. Also, I'm very jealous. Spoiler territory now, so if you haven't seen the film yet, come back when you have, because I've got a lot more to discuss and quibbles to air. Godzilla vs Kong, maybe the real treasure was the friends we made along the way. Let me start off by saying that there aren't a lot of rules followed here. They're very quick to throw away lore previously established in the world. In the final showdown, Godzilla burrs a hole all the way down to the hollow earth. Kong and friends come back through it to the surface, no questions asked. Where's the weird gravity timey-wimey gap that they had to pass through on the way down? The thing that propels you 1,000 miles or whatever. What's to stop other creatures coming through it? Why did they take Kong with them in the first place? Why was Skarsgård so adamant about having him around? Was he really just there as a glorified bodyguard? I feel like I missed something there. I could also never pin down Kong's size. The sense of scale kept changing. Sometimes he was the size of a big boat, sometimes he was the size of a skyscraper, sometimes he could be lifted by helicopters, and sometimes he was the same size as Zilla. Talking of Godzilla, I found his lack of development and screen time a bit frustrating. Kong gets a lot more depth as a character. Godzilla is very much reduced to this action figure-esque master of destruction. He steps on a couple of people and is immediately branded an enemy of the state. I'm not saying we need to humanise the big lizard, but it would be nice if they afforded him consideration as a character instead of this overpowered, meddling entity. Having said all that, I'm very glad Godzilla won the showdown. He's clearly the king of both the ocean and the land, and I sincerely love that for him. The fight sequence in Hong Kong was a whole lot of fun. I adored the use of the neon skyline. It looked fantastic. I didn't really want to think about all the collateral, and neither, it seems, did the film. In terms of the way the fight is staged, the Titans seem a lot more manoeuvrable. The kind of organic lumbering established in the 2014 film is pretty much abandoned here. They don't move like they're in a live action, they move like they're in a cartoon. It meant they could take a few more liberties with the choreography, which was really fun to watch, so I'm not complaining. Now, I think we can all see the profound influence that Ice Age 3 had on this film, alongside Journey to the Centre of the Earth and Pacific Rim. In terms of the Pacific Rim elements, were they harnessing the DNA from one of the dead titans from King of Monsters? Did I get that right? They harnessed the DNA from the skull and put it via satellite link into Mechagodzilla? I think Mechagodzilla was great, but the rest of the villains were laughably bad, just complete and utter caricatures. I had a theory at one point during the film that they were actually breeding titans, setting them against one another and then betting on the outcome. I thought there was going to be a whole rich people syndicate that Godzilla had decided to take down. I would watch that film. The humans are definitely secondary to the action here, with perhaps the exception of Little Gia. Kong's humans are a whole lot more compelling than Godzilla's. On the occasions where it did focus on purely human interaction, it dragged. I adore the fact that Millie Bobby Brown's character makes no difference to the plot whatsoever. Nothing would have changed had her character not been there. Same goes for Kyle Chandler's character. Everyone from King of Monsters is completely irrelevant. It's almost like King of Monsters is the worst film of the franchise by a margin. Godzilla vs. Kong is a stupidly fun action romp that delivers on its promise of big CGI fistfights. It's not a good film, but it serves as a slice of escapist pie, which is something I think we could all do with right about now. I'm giving Godzilla vs. Kong a 6 out of 10, and it's available to rent on VOD from the usual platforms in the UK and on HBO Max in the US. And that's all from me. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like down below. Let me know what you thought of Godzilla vs. Kong in the comments. And if you want more reviews, discussions, film festival coverage and countdowns, be sure to subscribe. Until next time.